What's up, everybody? This is a couple times that I've made this video so far. I restarted. And I just want to, first off, before anybody tries to come for me, I'm very well known in the Chicano community. Growing up, the west side of San Bernardino, 7th and Mount Vernon. And I'm starting to become well known in the black community. Excuse me. Especially being on the various podcasts that I've been on that are well known in the conscious community, like the New Yorker's Perspective podcast, Let's Think podcast, and various other podcasts. So I'm becoming very well known in the black community as well as the conscious community as well. So a lot of the things that I'm getting ready to say, some people aren't going to like, and that's fine. You don't have to like it, but truth is truth. I grew up in Southern California. I've been tagged in a lot of posts, and I'm also keep seeing a lot of posts from the black community attacking the Mexican community, saying, well, Mexicans don't like blacks. And this is where there's a lot of lack of knowledge. And then it's across the board. If you're not from California, you really don't understand where the prejudice stems from. And instead, you use that as fuel to fuel your own hatred and prejudice, towards the Mexican community. And I had a comment, sister had commented to me, she's from Detroit. She has no idea about life in California or Southern California. I'm not even sure if there's a huge Mexican community in Detroit, but she's from Detroit. She says, oh, well, history has shown us that all races have failed us, including Mexicans. And so I responded, I said, well, what history? Because, Mexican history shows the total opposite. How many freed slaves or how many runaway slaves found freedom in Mexico? Not only freedom, but they found citizenship and land ownership and anything else that they could imagine their lives being. In fact, there was books written on this, but it's been largely kept back from American schools, United States schools for the most part. We're taught about the Sister Harriet Tubman and all the things that she did in leading enslaved people to freedom in the North. But one of the things that's not taught in history is how Mexico was giving the Confederacy hell too. How Mexican soldiers were running attacks against Confederate soldiers. Not only that, it's not talked about how Mexico welcomed runaway slaves with open arms. So when you're saying Mexicans have historically been prejudiced against black people, it's wrong. Not only that, but when you look at the Brown Beret organization and the Black Panther Party, two organizations that have stood in solidarity with each other since the 1970s. The Brown Beret organization is a Mexican organization started by Chicanos in Los Angeles. So when you say that Mexicans have always been historically prejudiced against the black community, you're wrong. Now, what I will say is the prejudice and the racism that comes from the Mexican community stems from prison. I said this on the podcast before too. It stems from prison. It stems from gangs and gang violence. It stems from these ideologies that were implemented in people's minds in prison and in jail, and they came back out on the street with those same ideologies and started to spread them on the street. Predominantly started in Los Angeles. So I also saw another comment where somebody said, well, Mexicans don't run. They run with the white boys in prison. They don't run with the blacks. Let me clarify this. There was a time where Mexicans did run with blacks. There was a time. That time is long gone, long past. Do Mexicans run with white boys? Absolutely not. Let me give you a little bit of politic-wise. We don't go in there saying, oh, the white boys are our people, we're going to ride with them. No, white boys walk with us because we have numbers. That's what it is. They come to us to ask us to come fight their battles with them. One, and that's sureños. You also have bulldogs, who are Mexican as well, that don't run sureño and norteño. Then you also have norteños who run with the blacks and others and all that other stuff. So when you say, well, Mexicans don't run with us in prison, they only run with the white boys. Wrong again. Knowledge is key. Knowledge is power. Racism and prejudice stems from gang violence And it stems out of Los Angeles. That's where a lot of these prejudice began, again, between the Mexican and black communities. And it stems from gangs and gang violence. Not only that, but it's on both sides of the fence. It's easy to point the finger at everybody else around you and the things that they're doing. But in a lot of the comments, especially in posts I've been tagged in or posts that I happen to see, in a lot of the comments, you have those members of the black community saying they don't even want the unity. But then they're complaining that Mexicans are prejudiced against blacks. You can't have both, right? Now, I'm part of a movement that teaches you to deal with self. So while myself and other Chicano influencers are dealing with the racism and prejudice against the black community from the Mexican community, and we are dealing with it. That's, one of the videos I just saw was, the podcaster, big Mexican podcasters talking about the racism within our community. Yet when you go, it was on a black community post, and you go to the comments, and it's all negative comments towards the Mexican community. Yet we're addressing the problems within our own community, and the negative comments are still there. Yet, are you going to look at the stuff that's going on in your own community? Will you deal with that stuff too? Will you look in the mirror and say, well, we're kind of prejudiced against Mexicans too? Well, we kind of use prejudices against Europeans as well, and Asians as well. Because I see it. And if I see it, other people see it. So knowledge is power. The only way we're going to deal with these things is when we deal with it within our own communities. We point the fingers at ourselves and we say, we got to address this so we can work for unity. If nobody's going to do that, stop expecting unity and stop pointing the finger.